Remind, that app that goes right to their phones, because we know how much they love their phones. So Remind helps us give them a quick text message for anything, any of our important announcements that we want, like, to send them right away. So please, 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 all the codes for how to sign up for Remind are, guess what? On the website. They are also located on a lot of our signatures that whenever you send an email to the counselors, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see that we have our codes there under our signatures. Okay, and then of course the student and parent email. Now parents, we check our emails, we know. Students, not so much. So we really, really want to encourage the students to try to, I don't know, put an alarm in their phone, like every day at 3:45, I'm going to check my student email. It's just, you know, the way it's our way we communicate forever, and they just have to get used to it. They may not like it, but they got to get used to it. All right. In addition to those arrival kits, we also, next slide, please, Ms. Palazone. We have academic and social emotional resources for you. Okay, so what's your number one resource? Us, your school counselor. So if and we're the go-to. We may not be able to be the direct person that will help you, but we'll find the people that will help you. Okay, so that's why we have to be that first stop. The counseling annex, we had a grand opening party last week, introducing the staff to this new program that we're offering, a resource that we're offering with all the amazing interns that we have working with us this year through the counseling department as well as the social work department. And this is just going to be, you know, that additional resource that our kids need, especially after the last 18 months that we've been through. So the support systems are there. There is really no excuse for kids to say, I can't find a tutor, or I need help with this, because it's all available up there at that counseling annex. And that's located in the library for now. I think there might be different locations for different days. I heard the Black Box Theater might be a place, but we'll give you specifics, and all of that will be on the website. That conference period, when is the conference period? 9th period. Okay, we love to leave that period open for students to meet with their teachers. All teachers are available during that period. Now, juniors, some juniors have 9th periods, okay? They have stacked up their schedule. And so you might say, well, when will they be able to meet with their teachers? There will be, we would just suggest that the students reach out to the teachers to let them know they do have a 9th, and is there another period that they could possibly talk to them. Okay, we're encouraging self-advocacy during your junior year. Like, we want them to get to know, feel comfortable talking to their teachers and working things out. In addition to the teachers being a resource, we have a student assistance counselor. And for our juniors, it's going to be Miss Dorota Martinez. Right now, she's out on maternity leave, but she will return to us soon. And she will be another great resource for our kids, especially with the social emotional piece to it. Okay. And then we have the Loft. I know that between the two middle schools, one middle school had a program that was like the Loft. I think it was Maplewood Middle. South Orange Middle didn't really have that program. But now that we're all together as one, Maplewood, South Orange, we get this great additional part of our building called the Loft, and their area is fabulous. It's wonderful. They have windows. Sorry, Mr. Sanchez. I had to mention they have windows. They have a great department. They offer individual counseling, group counseling, and then just some other fun activities for the kids. So those are the list of our social, academic, social, and emotional resources. Okay, next slide, please. And I think this is going to kick off with Miss McDowell.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, I'm talking about our junior year and the steps we're going to be taking to help support our students. We'd like you guys to keep graduation requirements in mind. We, of course, remind the students make sure that the students get that financial literacy course that they need. Remember, that's also offered online through Money Matters. So it's an available resource. This is the time where we start making sure they may get that practical art if they've been a student that's been in band in world languages. So we're definitely making sure all our students meet their graduation requirements, which we'll talk about more in the next slide. Grades are very important at this point. Junior year is a big focal point. We know a lot of students need, their dream is to get into the best schools, and we want them to be able to do that. And grades are a great reflection of how they will perform. So we want them to really focus on doing their very best, getting that support in conference period if it's needed, because it's very important. Your junior year is a really good stepping stone. And when we teach you more about SCORE this evening, you'll be able to see what expectations of GPA the schools that your children are dreaming of have, and it'll give you a great foundation for this year. Senior course selection is something we will do with all of our juniors in January, February, March. We will be working with all of them throughout that 3-month period. Usually we have our junior meetings. They will select their senior courses. We'll of course support them. There's a lot of amazing opportunities for senior year that a lot of students haven't gotten access to. There's AP US history courses in government and politics that they weren't able to do. A lot of the kids take a lot of our amazing science electives. So it's a great year. It's very exciting. It allows kids to hone in on their majors, which we really like for college. Testing is something we're going to talk about a little bit more, but we have SAT tests and ACT tests. We encourage all of our students to try one of the tests. You want to give yourself as many opportunities as you can, and college, though they're test optional, we always want a student to try, because if they do better than they expected, it's nothing but a win for us. The college application process we will go through with you and your children beginning your junior year and go really in depth your senior year. So we look forward to working with you. We do one-on-one meetings with families about that. The college application process is done through our SCORE, and so we'll help you make sure everything is done and processed. One thing we'd like you to keep in mind is that junior year teachers, we like to have as our students letter of recommendation writers. So we'd love for you to your students to build a great rapport with their junior year teachers so that they have the opportunity to present to those teachers, and they will write letters of recommendation that match the amazing grades this year, and the two will go hand in hand. I'm ready for the next slide. All right, so here are our graduation requirements. There's going to be 4 years of English. All of our students start off with English 1 and English 2, and then they have choice their junior and senior year. There's 4 years of physical education, and after 9th grade, we do the stadium choice. So I'm sure your students have told you about their selections and their choices for gym. There are 3 years of mathematics. The state of New Jersey requires algebra and geometry, but after that, we do have some options. So please keep that in mind if your child needs to do 1 more year. We know, we have pre-calc, calculus, we have AB and BC calculus as well. We have statistics and discrete math. So we can make those choices together as a team to decide what's best for your student. Social studies, all kids are required in our district to take world history, US History 1 and US History 2. So their senior year, though, they have options. Some of your students now may be taking AP Psychology. They'll also have the option of AP Gov Politics, AP Gov Comparative. So it's very exciting the senior year because the kids get a lot of opportunities to try new things, sociology as well. We do 1 year of a world language, which is required. Visual and performing arts, we do 1 year of that. And then for 21st century peers, we do 1 year of that. So we make sure that our students meet those requirements, especially students who may have been in science and research and may have been in concentrating on one field because it's their passion, to make sure they equal that out. And financial literacy. Some of our students have already done that through Money Matters. Some of them have done it through financial literacy. So we go over that. You need 90 credits to be a senior and 120 credits to graduate. So we want to make sure that your child has as many credits as needed. A lot of you will realize your children have a lot more than 120 credits when they graduate. Our students do really well and we're proud of them, but we want to make sure they get every opportunity. Ready for the next slide. Okay, these are the graduation requirements for the state of New Jersey. There are multiple pathways for them to meet the testing requirements for the state of New Jersey. They can do it through their NJS scores, they can do it through PSATs, and they can do it through SATs. If all of those are a struggle for your student, and some students aren't great test takers, that's okay. We have other resources such as the ASVAB, which students take in their senior year if they need to, as well as a ninth period senior class where you build a portfolio if you need to with a peer teacher for support. So what you can do is go onto your parent portal on the PowerSchool website, and you can see test score summaries. So you're able to see, and usually if your child has met a benchmark, it turns green with the NJS. So then you'll know they've passed the benchmark. Another way they can pass the benchmark is with the PSATs with a score of 22 or above. So there are many ways to do it. We'll work with you as a family to figure out which way works best for you so that you guys are prepared to go on to high school. So there are 5 resources available. There is the NJ PERC testing, there's the SAT, there's the PSAT, there is the ASVAB testing, as well as there is a 9th period course where you can get teacher support to build a portfolio. So there are a lot of opportunities for your child to pass our standardized test platform. So please don't worry about it. And we're here to support you all the way. So again, you can go onto the website and look at PowerSchool and see if your children has already met the benchmark. If not, their counselor will reach out to you during junior and senior meetings for a plan. Now it's back to Yoli.
Thanks, Jenny. That was helpful. Okay, so what are our post-high school options for our students? These are the options listed right here on the slide. So they can go to a 4-year college, they could go to a 2-year college, they could get a job, they could go into the military, a trade school, postgraduate year, gap year, or something else. We don't know. All of these options are going to be things that we talk about during our junior meeting, and even I want to say our senior meetings. Like right now, that's where we are. All the counselors are meeting with their seniors. Some of our seniors are a little hesitant to sign up for these meetings because they think, I don't want to go to college, so why do I have to meet with you? Well, there's still so many other, options that we could talk about. So it's not just about those 4-year colleges. There are lots of other avenues that your children will take, to get to their next step, their next chapter in their lives. I want to tell you that the Loft, that other additional academic, social, emotional resource we have, will also help us with kids that are going to go right into the work world. So we'll be able to, partner with them to help our kids get as many opportunities as possible. All right. So we definitely, love the college idea, but it's not for everybody. And, let's just be real. That's just the way it is. Okay. So I think it's back to you, Jenny, right now. You're going into score.
Yes. So moms and dads, this is our score. One thing we want to point out to you is this college preferences, college search. You can use the preferred search and it'll allow you to see the must-haves for schools. These are things like how far away the school is, or if you like your kid to have a school with certain majors. It'll hone down your college schools to a smaller portion, so it gives you the opportunity to actually go into the college overview and learn more about each college. So we recommend every child plays around with it a little bit so that they can see some choices they hadn't thought of before. I'm ready for the next one. Okay, so So as you can see, there's tons of things: personal entrance, distance from home, school type, test scores, acceptance rate. So you can push your cursor from one side to the other, give them your SAT scores, give them your degree choices, and they'll be able to hone down schools. It'll help you see schools that are likely, schools that may be a reach, but it's an opportunity for you to be able to vet the schools while your student still has many opportunities to take more rigorous courses their senior year, or if they're very interested, the school really requires 4 years of math, to make sure you add that. These are things you'll find out as you whittle through the schools with these resources. I'm ready. Okay, so as you can see on the screen in front of you, it's Ramapo College, one of our state schools in New Jersey. If you look, it'll tell you the acceptance rate, the tuition for students in our state, and if you click on analysis, it'll give you the average test scores and GPAs of students who enrolled. So that's really exciting because you can see where your student should be if this is the school of their choice. It does it for schools all over the country. When your children take their SATs or their ACTs and they register them, they get a star in the system. And that star allows them to see where they are. I'll show it, that'll come up in the next slide. I'm ready. Okay, so as you can see, this is what your schools begin to look like. You have your students put the schools of their choice in following. You can look at them, you can go on virtual tours of them. And as their senior year approaches, they can let me know that they're applying by moving schools into the applying section. Then we have great discussions about them during our senior meeting, and then they go into the applied section when they finally do apply. And we can see all this in real time, which helps us to prepare letters of recommendation, make sure teachers' letters of recommendation are in place, and all the information we need to send is there. One thing I'd like to tell you about SCORE is that SCORE is the portal to which we send all of your students' information. Your students will go through Common App, which is great. It's what most colleges prefer, or their online application. But all of the resources that we send, their letters of recommendation, their transcript, go through the SCORE system. So you send your items through the college application portal, and we send our items through SCORE, and they meet at the end, along with SAT scores if you choose. So this is our resource for your students. This is our heat map. It allows you to see your student who becomes a star when you put in an SAT or ACT score. It also gives their GPA, so you can see the GPA numbers up at the top, the ACTs on the right, the SATs on the left, and you can see if your student falls into the good to go category, or this may be a 67% reach school. It really allows your kid to get an idea. And the best part about this is these are all Columbia students. This is not students from all over the state. These are just our students, just their peers, so you can see where they are. This is based on weighted GPAs. So we define, oh, it's Yoli's turn. Sorry. I didn't practice this slide.
Totally took over. Okay, hello everyone. So what is the scattergram does is it helps kids make this ideal college list that we want for our kids. We want kids to have at least 8 to 10 schools on their radar, okay? And the way that we want them divided is we would like to see that they have at least two reach schools, which are students where what's the definition of a reach school? It accepts few students with your GPA and test scores. The level schools, that's the majority of the list. Those are schools that will accept most students that have your GPA and test scores. And then the likely schools, which it's the synonym for the safety schools. We want all students to have at least 2 of those on their list of schools. Okay, and those are schools that accept all students with that GPA. Ms. Ballastone, if you go back to the scattergram, so just so they can see, like the green circles are representing students that got accepted. Okay, green for go. You know, that's those that will show you. So in that quadrant, that green quadrant, that's where we can tell, oh, that's a good place to be in, that like upper right quadrant. And the more you get to the out, I would say, like by the 93%, I would say those are like the target, the level schools. I hope I'm right about that. What I like to tell my juniors too is that this is not a perfect science. We cannot guarantee that if you get this GPA and this ACT score or this SAT score, that you will get in. Things happen. Okay, every year it's a new year, and like in the fashion world, sometimes you're in and sometimes you're out. So you really can't take too much of this too personally. This is just a gauge for you to see, like, where what has happened in the past. Can I use that information to predict what will happen for me? Okay, slide. Thanks. So the college search, what are our next steps? We're going to be scheduling our junior meetings probably in mid-January to late February. I think that's when we did it last year. So I'm assuming we're going to try to do it around that same time. We have college rep visits, which are really happening now, and they usually do happen in the fall, most of the fall up until December, I would say, November, December. We will suggest that students do make plans to use their spring breaks as tours, go visit, hopefully we'll get our boosters and we can head out there again, safely. And then you're going to start preparing for applications. Okay, we're going to talk to all of our students about, thinking about fourth quarter. You're going to start thinking about which teachers you would like to ask to write your letters of recommendation. All right. And we're going to give them all of this information in the winter, not that they do it in the winter, but at least by the time they get to that fourth quarter, they're not going to be overwhelmed with all of the things they have to do. Okay. Now let's talk about, next slide, GPA. All right, that's a big thing. Like, a lot of kids are not paying attention to that too much, but by your junior year, it's a pretty important thing to start thinking about. And the good news is they have time to work on it. Okay, our GPAs are done cumulatively. They are not calculated until their final grades. So until all 4 quarters have been entered, that's when we calculate their GPAs. All right, so they can have a little dip during 1 quarter and then rise to the occasion during quarters 3 and 4. All right, it happens. It definitely happens. So what we take is those 4 quarters, add them together, and then we can calculate our GPAs. On the transcripts, you will see a weighted and an unweighted GPA. The weighted GPAs are going to be what we send out to the colleges. Okay, that's the GPA that we will use. I also, when we showed you the scattergram, that's another reason why the kids need to know about their GPAs, because that's going to help them make decisions about whether or not the school is a likely, a reach, or a target. So that's definitely the importance of GPAs. Okay, I would say next slide. And as I just said, it's updated at the end of the school year. You will not get to see a GPA after quarter 2. Okay, you will have to wait till after your quarter 4 grade is in Power School, and then the GPAs will be calculated, probably at the after the last day of school. Maybe sometimes in July, you would get that final GPA. And then which counts more for colleges? Let's see, which one? Weighted. That's the one that we report to the colleges. Okay, and what makes it weighted? The core subjects and the level of the class. Okay, so those APs, those honors classes, those are going to give your GPA just a little bit more weight, which is what we suggest to students. We don't want them to take 5 APs or 6 APs, but if they can handle a couple, that would be great. That would be great. Every little bit helps. All right, next slide.
The one thing I wanted to add about GPAs, which is something that we do really well at Columbia, I think, not to brag about my school, but your students' transcripts only show their final grades. So if your child struggles, the college will never see it. They see your final grade on the form. So quarter by quarter, some schools show every quarter, we don't. The kids' only final grade shows up. Um, we recommend 4 years of all core subjects. A lot of colleges are starting to request that. Our students obviously apply to colleges all over the country, and we're learning more and more as we have more and more students apply with new COVID rules, things that we're seeing in education now. And we recommend kids do 4 years of all core subjects. That doesn't necessarily mean that they need to take AP chemistry. They can take astronomy, they can take anatomy their senior year as a science, but we want them to continue their education of the 4-year schools. 2 to 3 years of a world language. Some of our kids go for 5. We find it amazing, but we'd like you to have 2 or 3 years of a world language. Advanced coursework, we love it in specific disciplines. So if your child is going into STEM, getting into AP computer science, getting into AP calculus, will show a college that they're ready for college level rigor in their major requirements. You must earn credits to graduate, but earning the grades will give you more options. Yes. So we know that you can graduate, but we'd like your student to have every choice in the world when it comes time for them to go to college. So the more they do and the more they show, the more options they have. Next slide. You are more than your GPA. And we tell this to kids all the time. We see our seniors, they come back to visit, they send us emails, and the schools that they end up in are the perfect schools for them. They've met their best friends. Some of them have met significant others in their schools, and they wouldn't have met them unless they ended up at this wonderful school in Connecticut. So trust that your student is more than their GPA, and we want them to do their very best. But we trust that you and us as a team are supporting them and they're doing what they can. I'll take the next slide. The SATs and the ACTs are the 2 standardized tests most colleges require. The SAT is offered at Columbia. The ACT is offered at schools surrounding. We no longer do SAT 2 subject tests. That just happened. But they are still offering the SAT and the ACT. So please register for those tests. We recommend a child maybe takes one their junior year. And if we love the grade, then we're happy. If they feel like they can improve a little bit, then during their junior summer, they can take an SAT prep program. They can study the SAT book to be prepared to take a test in their senior year. But the sooner they get a round score.
Jenny, you're muted.
Your audio just went out. So if you can't figure it out, I'll take over.
Okay. So if you,
there
can
you
you hear me? Okay. So Miss Petrosia, just reach out to her. If you have free lunch, Miss Petrosia, or reduced lunch, Miss Petrosia discreetly will give your student all the information for them to get a waiver for their SATs. We recommend 2 to 3 teachers, letters of recommendation. We'd love for them to be junior or senior level teachers. We know that we'd like every student to have 2. That's very important to most schools. We will write a letter of recommendation for you as well. It'll come attached to your transcript. That's why we have a junior and senior meeting. We recommend and we really need parents to fill out brag sheets on score surveys. The reason we want parents to fill out the brag sheet as well as the student is because the student gives me the dream, you give me the details. So the student tells me they've been swimming since they were 7. I build the story about how they've swum and they've overcome, and now they're going to do it again in college. And you tell me that they have the best time in the county and that they've won 2 awards. You remember that the students never do, so please do that. I did. I skipped you.
Jenny likes to take my slides. It's okay, Jenny.
I just like to say that 2 slides ago, you took my slide, so I'm going to let it go.
Okay. All
You're
right.
like one of my closest friends in the world.
We're a team. Okay. Just adding to the college admission, Miss Fallon, can you go back one slide? We Right there, yes. So asking those teachers, I think I did mention that we want them to ask during the fourth quarter, okay? So sometime in May, in mid-May, June, that would be awesome. Um, you don't have to ask us. That's the best part, okay? The counselors are going to write your letters whether you want us to or not. So we will do that. But what really does help us, and I love how Jenny just phrased that with, the kids, what you write the dream, we write that. That was beautiful, poetic, yes. So yeah, they're just going to state the facts and things about themselves, but you're going to really show us, like, what it took for them to get to that, that amazing job or those amazing accomplishments. Like, we just want those backstories. And we love reading that stuff. We love reading that stuff during the summer when we're off. So that's why June 1st is when we would love to have all of those surveys turned in so that we can sit and just digest all of these beautiful narratives about our students, because I know there are some amazing stories about your kids and what they've done up until this point. And we just need the time to sit there and really read them. So if you can put it on your calendars, June 1st, get that survey done, and then you can enjoy your summer. And we won't hound you for that. And I would just say, for this parent surveys, I don't know if this is still the case, but if you do not use your score account, it disappears, and then we can just re-invite you. I think Ms. Ballison re-invites in batches, like when she knows that we need those surveys. I think she can just send another invite for those. So don't worry if you think, I don't remember my score account info. We can re-invite you. Or the counselors can even just cut and paste the questions for you. If you're not comfortable using the application, we can just cut and paste the questions and you can just email them. Okay, I can't reinforce anymore how important your side of the story is to help us write those letters. Okay, yeah, so that's what I wanted to say about that. Am I talking about the essays, Jenny, or are you?
You can, you
Okay.
feel
So the college admission requirements, of course, those application essays. I went on I did a few virtual workshops about college essays, and they do honestly recommend that they write them before the summer. I think they feel that during the summer of your your rise as a rising senior, you're going to be doing a lot of different things, and maybe you're going to think, I'm going to wait till I go through those internships or whatever I'm doing, those camp counselor positions, whatever it is that they do, they might think those are the moments that I want to write about. But, you really could just get it or just start thinking about it. I think Miss Ballison mentioned this in one of her ideas for junior meetings. Start a note page in your phone. Tell your kids to, in your notes, just jot down ideas about memories or something that you've overcome. Take a peek at the Common App prompts and see like which of those 7 questions you would like to answer. A lot of schools, even the schools that don't use Common App, still use questions that are like those. Okay, so take a look at those prompts and just pick one that you're like, and whenever you're thinking about it on those like random weekends, in February, March, or whatever, just jot down a few ideas. But we will have support systems in place. We had a few writing essays, like people in the community came and reviewed essays. There are actually people that like to do stuff like that in our lovely community. So we appreciate them. We also have their language arts teachers, their junior year language arts teachers will also assign writing a college essay as an assignment. So they will get to do that, during the school day. But if as many, just get the ideas flowing, because to wait until September of your senior year to think about your essay, no. It's not a good time. So we really encourage that, get the brainstorming going through the spring, get a plan done before you leave for your summer vacay, and then the fall will be when we fine tune things, and we're not starting with a blank slate. Okay, it's my spiel. On to you, Jenny.
All right, so now we're going to talk about special programs. There's financial eligibility through the EOF program, which is for families and children of certain minority groups and socioeconomically as well. It's the EOF program. It's a nationally recognized program. Students are allowed to get summer support and additional funding. So if your student qualifies for the EOF program, they usually do a summer program before their senior year to prep them for college. It's an amazing program. If you're interested in athletics, please go to the ncaa.org website. They give very clear directions on SAT requirements and GPA requirements and things of that sort. But we really want our athletes to also just think about life outside of sports when their choices of colleges, because you want to make sure that they have your major, that they have great internships and opportunities. Next slide. Okay, the Fafsa Forum. It opens up October the 1st. We love the Fafsa Forum. Please do not assume that you won't get any funding. My parents told me they weren't even filling it out, but I found out years later they might have got something. A lot of colleges are becoming more and more expensive. There are a lot of government programs available, and more importantly than that, some schools, when they look at students getting scholarships, also see, well, they filled out financial aid, you can get opportunities that way because they consider need. The CSS profile is different. It's for a few select colleges. It goes in more detail than the financial aid form. So you can, that also opens October 1st. So keep those two tools in mind. The one thing I will say about the FAFSA is the FAFSA is no longer the FAFSA of when we were a kid, when you wanted to pay somebody $50 to do it for you. They literally are connected to the IRS. So they just ask you, can we pull your IRS information? And it takes about 20 minutes. They pull all the resources. So it allows you a quick trip to get the information instead of hours of finding paperwork in W-2s. Back to Yoli.
Okay, well, that was a mouthful, but all that really matters, are these things, okay? That they are staying socially connected. And believe me, I've been around the hallways and they are very socially connected. Now that we're back in the building, but it is very important. We're social creatures. We need each other. So we want them to have healthy relationships with their friends. They've got to make time for that. We want them to have, think about good self-care. What does that mean? That means getting a good night's sleep, getting a good meal, things like that. Like that all of those things are very important as well. And good mental health, take a yoga class, to walk around, look at the trees, look at the beautiful neighborhood we live in, take time to really smell those roses. That's what we want. Okay. And then now what? As parents, we want you to do that monitoring the mental health of your child. I mean, how do they look in the morning? Are they exhausted? Are they, are they coming home, just beat from all of this? Like, we want you to monitor that and then you let us know, they're not looking good, something's going on. That's when you reach out to us. And we tap into all of those resources we mentioned in the beginning. I love these next points. Set a weekly time to check Canvas. Don't check it every day. You are going to drive yourself crazy. I remember when we only had Power School, and that was so like up and down. Like 1 minute their assignments were done, and then there was nothing, and there was no, like, don't do that to yourself. Make it, a Thursday night thing at 6 o'clock. You're going to check it. Set a weekly time to discuss college. They're some of them aren't ready. We're finding it hard to wrangle in some of our seniors that are just like, not now. So you know your child the best. All right. So if you can tell that this is just something that's too much for them to think about because it's such an important year, junior year, this is the GPA that the colleges are gonna see, and this is it. It really does matter a lot. But don't overwhelm them with a daily discussion about the college, okay? Be honest about any restrictions. You know, like if California, like, no, we can't do California. So let's like bring it back in, and you know, we live in a beautiful garden state here, and there are tons of opportunities in good old New Jersey. Um, or, you know, if you do want, you know, to be at least a train ride away, then, you know, tri-state area, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, all of those. So, you know, just be honest about that as a family, you know, and talk about that. Um, Take those virtual visits. It's just like when we buy homes, right? We don't know what's the right home until we walk in it. You know, we get that feeling. So go visit the campuses. It's you know, they are doing things to make it safe for people to get a real good feel of what it feels like on those campuses. Road trips, yes. Test prep opportunities. There are a lot of free resources out there. Khan Academy. A lot of well, I know the local libraries used to give like Saturday workshops. I know there's local towns that even like just not in our town, there are other towns that offer SAT preps, workshops and stuff. So, you know, just tap into that. And if you don't know of anything yourself, then email. We'll help you find something. And then the essay topic note, again, you know, get them to use, they use their phones anyway. Why not? You know, show me like that, get them to show you during that weekly time you want to discuss college. Can you just show me your note page for your college essay? Like, can I just see just something? You know, just doing things like that will really help them not feel so overwhelmed summer of 2022.
So I just want to add one thing to the note taking. I hate taking notes, but I do voice recordings. So you can get your kids to do voice recording, just walking, talking to themselves, flushing things out. It doesn't matter if it's written down or it's recorded, as long as they're catching their ideas. We want them to have the best ideas for their essay.
Thank you both so much. I love that tag teaming. I felt like I was watching the Today Show or something with the back and forth and you know, it was really great. Um, Miss Fleming and Miss McDowell are just two of our really amazing counselors. We have a great department. They have been working so hard. Obviously, last year you couldn't even see it. None of us could see how hard we were all working. But this year, I mean, it's like they're in a cold sweat at the end of the day. They need like water poured over them. They are working so hard here for the kids. So I just wanted to thank all of the counselors, including Miss Fleming and Miss McDowell, for being here tonight. They're really doing everything for your students here to try to make their experience a good one this year. So we are ready to take some questions. If you want to type them here into the chat. Oh, let me catch up. I think we have a couple maybe sitting here that I haven't seen yet. Oh, thanks, Principal Sanchez, for getting some of them on here. Okay, is the Common App on score? So Ms. McDowell, you love this question. Do you want to just answer this one?
So what our students, what colleges basically do is they start a folder. The minute they get anything from your child, they start a folder with a checklist on the front. As the SAT scores come in, they put in the folder and check it. As your applications come in through Common App, they put in the folder and check it. Our letters of recommendation and transcripts come through Score, they put in the folder and check it. When all things are complete, along with the fee they're charging you to apply, they put it in a basket, and then they're all reviewed at once after the deadline, unless they're rolling admission. This gives every kid the same opportunity and the same ability to review, but it allows so that teachers can give reviews, counselors can give reviews. You sign a FERPA saying that you won't request to see those, so the schools know they're done with integrity. So the best way to really prove it is they go through a different portal than your common application. So everyone gets their own portal, ETS, us, and you. And in the end, Score will show you when they're all there, and so will the school's website, so that you know everything's where it should be.
Thank you. I'm sure somebody has some questions, so we'll give it another couple of minutes. Normally we get a slew. All right, I'll take this one about AP AP exams. So we have a question here. Do you need to register for an AP exam? Yes, the instructions for registering for an AP exam are on the Counseling Center website. We have a little AP subpage, and that's where they are. And I think they're somewhere else on there too. I put it in a couple places, maybe under forms I put it. It was also emailed out, so hopefully you received it that way, but you probably just want to check the Counseling Center website at this point. Look for that little AP subpage that we have, and there's really detailed instructions on there. It's a two-step process. One on College Board, and then the next step on total registration, the third-party website we use to collect payment for the AP exam. So it can be a little confusing, so we have it all detailed for you on the website.
I have a question. I was sorry, I was asking about this transcript. So we can't get an official transcript for ourselves. It has to be sent directly to a school. And then the second question is, are there standardized tests listed on the transcript somewhere, like SAT or whatever?
So we don't list tests on the transcript, but you can get official transcripts from your student's school counselor. So we do have some questions about the college visits and how that works. So if your student registers for a college visit on SCORE, then they can come by the counseling center anytime and they'll find a pass for them tacked to the little bulletin board. When you first walk into the counseling center, they can just grab the pass. And that's what they'll show to their teacher the day of the visit. So that's the system for that. Okay, we have another question here about ranking, and we no longer rank our students here at Columbia High School. And there's a question about if a college is asking for that on their application. And so if they were to ask for the rank on the application, one of the options would always be my school does not rank, because most schools do not rank. So that would be what most students are checking off. If a student, I think Mr. Sanchez wrote in here to somebody else that if a student needs to know something about their rank information for a scholarship purpose, we are happy to directly communicate with the scholarship organization any information that they may need.
There was also a question about sports. I don't think we tackled that, but the point person should be the coach. The coaches have most of our coaches are longstanding coaches and have great relationships with many admissions officers and other college coaches. Recruiters usually contact our coaches directly. They don't contact our counselors or administration, for example. So if your child has a question about that college process, the best person to contact is the coach himself or herself. We do have, though, Grads Return, which is a program that your child will now be open to, right? That your child wasn't open to the Grads Return program last year because it was for only juniors and seniors. That is usually one of the sessions that we have. We have student athletes come back and talk about what it's like to be an athlete at college, whether it's an actual sport, for example, or it might, sometimes we also have not intramurals, but travel teams as well as some colleges now have too.
Oh, I'm not muted. Okay. And also every Monday at 2:15 through the Counseling Annex, we are offering a student athlete support initiative workshop. And this will be part of the topic of conversation. So we encourage you to, again, check out our calendar there for everything we have going on with the Annex so that you know what we offer. Okay. Questions about if we are equipped to assist students applying to international schools, and the answer is yes, we do it every year. Do either of the counselors here want to share anything about that experience? Because it's fun. It can be interesting since it all kind of works differently. So the counselor will be able to guide your student through that, though, no problem.
We do a lot of schools.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of schools in Canada. We're very familiar with McGill. We will send your items internationally. We have a student that's in Scotland right now. She's living her best life. She loves it. We also have students that are, they have joint citizenship. So we definitely communicate with other schools. We'll make sure that just like in American school, we reach your deadlines, and yes, we are comfortable. Sometimes, you know, it's a different language, so that's something to work on, but we definitely reach out and make every step. Yoli.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if what's happening over there, but for at some point Germany was saying that college is free or something. So we had a ton of students applying to college in Germany. It runs the gamut, so we have experience with all of that. We do have questions here about SAT versus ACT. What's the difference? How do you know which one to take? Do you need to take both? Do either of you want to take that? If not, I will.
The SATs and the ACTs, there's actually some really great resources online that we give you, I believe, in our senior packet, right? So you can test because you want to see which one your child will do better in. You only need to do one. And so pick whichever one you think your child will do better in based on, you can do online free surveys through Princeton Review, and they'll tell you which one your child will highlight for. It's rare nowadays that a school demands one over the other, so they can choose whichever one works best for them.
And I just want to add that I think, you know, I think probably like 5 years ago, we started to see some students moving to the ACT. That was because it was timed differently than the SAT. SAT were much shorter, like almost sometimes 20 to 30-minute tests. And I think students felt anxious about that. The SAT realized that they were losing customers. And so College Board shifted. And so once they changed that about 5 years ago, the testing length, we have seen a majority of our students, the vast majority of our students, continue with the SAT. So I think that is the most popular test for our students, and that's probably the reason why.
And I just think the kids that take the ACT, it's that science, they have a science component to the ACT. So that might be another reason why students would opt to take the ACT over the SAT.
And yes, all the juniors are automatically registered for the PSAT on October 26th. There's nothing you need to do. Your student is just going to show up for school that morning, and we're going to have them assigned to a classroom where they'll be taking the PSAT. So that'll be fun. And then normally the scores come in by like mid-December. So usually by a holiday break, we know what those scores are for the PSAT.
And I was just peeking at the chat too, and I don't know if anybody answered do PSAT scores get entered in SCORE? So did you see that one? They do, they do get entered, but they aren't part of the scattergram. The scattergram is showing just ACT scores or ACT, sorry, SAT or ACT. And students can put in their scores when they get them. We used to get them mailed to us, but those days are over, I guess.
And yes, if your child gets accommodations through an IEP or 504, they're all set up for that with the PSAT automatically. College visits during the week. So the admission reps coming to the high school, of course, those are just during the week. But if you mean actually going to a college, the most tours are offered during the week. Some colleges will do a Saturday tour here or there if they don't have some other event like a large open house happening or something like that. Of course, the best thing to do is to be able to see the college while classes are in session. If you go like early on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning, it can feel like a little dead. No one's up yet. So we do recommend trying to go during the week. Our week off here in November, this first week in November that the students have off, if you're able to, you know, call out sick from work, have little sniffles or something, that's a great week to go on some college tours, especially since I feel like I haven't heard of many other districts that have off the beginning part of that week. So the tours won't be packed with the whole state of New Jersey, which is nice. So that might be a great time to go. Of course, at the end of that week, it's teachers convention. So the whole state of New Jersey will be at all the same 20 schools on the tours. But we also allow students, 3 absences? I always forget, is it 2? 3 absences excused to go on college tours. So definitely take advantage of that if, as a parent or guardian, you're able to also kind of get off work for a day to be able to take them. And then there's, the February break and there's spring break. These are all great times when we're off, but the colleges are in session to be able to go on some college tours. So the PSAT can count. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's been changing, right? And I'm sorry that we don't have a definite answer, and that's only because the New Jersey Department of Education has been changing it. It was supposed to be just the NJSLA test, or what your children may have taken in middle school called the PARC, but now it's the NJSLA test. But those tests have been canceled for the past 2 years, and because of the transition, for the past 5 years, the state has allowed PSATs, SATs, and ACTs in addition to an ASVAB test or an acupuncture test. So there's a variety of ways. We're hoping that yes, that will continue with this junior class, that PSATs and SATs count, especially because your child may not have taken, for example, the Algebra 1 NJSLA in middle school, right, or in high school. So those are the things that we're looking forward to knowing. But the state has been very flexible, so I would assume that will continue. But that's the only reason why we can't definitively answer that question. Am I frozen or something? I don't know.
No, we're just
No,
sort of
good.
see if
Okay.
a few more minutes, see if any other questions roll in.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure. I was like, oh.
Hopefully everyone's student is happy to be back in school. I know we all are. All of us here on the panel are pretty happy to be back in the building. So hopefully your kids are feeling the same thing.
Yes.
So parents, if you're having trouble getting to score, you should contact your student school counselor and they'll have an invitation emailed to you. So question here about one of our events at the Annex. We do have executive functioning workshops on Thursday, and the students just show up for it. They just show up. Okay. All right, some good questions here. So is there a college day at CHS, or do the visits happen on different days? So for right now, through about Thanksgiving, our daily calendar on the website is packed with admission reps coming to host sessions with our students all day long. So it's different days. Pre-COVID, we had a very large college, career, military, and gap fair each March in the main gym. Last year, we ended up doing virtual programming for our students in March around that time when we normally would have done that. And I think we'll do another like fun thing like that this year where we do like a college and career military gap week in March when we normally would do that, and students can sign up for sessions and we'll probably plan something like that. You do not automatically get college credit for an AP class. If you score well on the AP exam, like a 4 or 5, and you end up sending that to the college that you're going to, the college will let you know if they'll accept that as credit or not. So it's based on your exam score and only if the college you end up going to accepts it. So there's no guarantee. All right, the deadline for registering for AP exams, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's in the letter. It's in the registration letter on the website under AP. We have a little AP page on there. And the letter's right there, and it has all the deadlines and everything. I think they're upcoming. It's definitely before the holidays. It's before Thanksgiving that registration is due. I think sometime soon. So no, a score does not tell you if a college will accept certain AP exam scores for certain credits. I haven't quite seen a tool that would do something like that automatically. You probably have to reach out to the individual college. Wait another minute, see if any other questions roll in, and then we'll. Okay. All right, so more questions about accommodations. And interestingly, for these two things that are mentioned here, AP and SAT, those are both administered through College Board. And we have an SSD coordinator who's like the liaison to the College Board accommodations on staff, Mr. Enlick. If you look again at that AP registration letter on the website, it gives you very detailed instructions about how and when to contact Mr. Enlick about your accommodations. And so his contact information is there if someone wants it about SAT as well. But we can just write his email address right in here and he will get many emails tonight. So sorry, Mr. Enlick. Hope you're up early with some coffee in the morning to check your inbox. Okay, there it is. Okay, so a really important question though about how to register for the SAT. It's through College Board. It's not through the high school. We're just a site where students can come and take the test, but College Board administers it, and so the students must register for and pay on College Board. Right, Ms. McDowell? You're in charge of this. You should have answered that one.
Yes, students register through College Board for the SATs. We are a site where they can take the SATs. Mr. Enlick will make sure students get all of their paperwork in to request additional time or support.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for logging on tonight. If you have any other questions, please reach out to your student's counselor. That's what they're here for. So you can reach them by email, by phone. I'm trying to encourage people to use the phone a little bit more again this year. So you can always just call your student's counselor, especially if you feel like you're starting to go back and forth a little bit with email and not fully getting each other. Just you can call. We're here now. We're in the office. So we would love to hear from you, love to chat with you and get to know you all a little bit better as we work with your students through this process. Thank you, Principal Sanchez, for being here and for supporting the Counseling Center as much as you do. We are so thankful to have you. And thank you, Ms. McDowell and Ms. Fleming, for an excellent presentation and everything you do every day for our students. Thanks, everyone, for logging on. We did record this, so we will send out the link and post it once it becomes available. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good luck. You can do this.
One of the parents put in a link for that College Board to see credits. I stole it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'll share it. Bye,
Thank-
guys. Have a good night. Fallon, for real, this was amazing.
Thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Yay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.